Shalom Aleichem. We are now in the Parshas of Balak, and we're moving into the summer. So let's find out about this man Balak, and the man he hired is Bilam to curse the Jewish people. And this is the only parsha in the Torah where the Bnei Yisrael didn't know anything of what's going on. Only Moshe wrote it in the Torah that there was a man Balak who was in a neighboring country, which is today Jordan, and he was deathly afraid of Bnei Yisrael. Moshe writes that. And he spoke to the people of Midian, which is Saudi Arabia today, and he asked them, what are you going to do about these Jewish people coming up the side of Eretz Yisrael? So he said, get someone from Midian, Saudi Arabia, because Moshe comes from Midian. And so they hired these people, and Balak sent his ambassadors and the people from Midian to Bilam, who was way up in Syria, where the Euphrates River starts. The Parshas Euphrates starts up north and comes down between Iraq and Iran. The Parshas, the Euphrates. So then they hired Bilam, and first time he didn't want to go, and then he sent higher level ambassadors. They finally he went, and they wanted to curse the Jewish people, and he tried 3 times, and they never cursed them. And he blessed them, and then he sent them home because he was disappointed. Balak, the king, about Bilam, sent them home, and then he came back a few months later when the Jewish people got involved in arayos, and he got killed. This is the only setter in the Torah, well, after let's say Shemos, Vayikra, Bamidbar, that the Jewish people had no clue what's going on. It's about the king of Balak, who was afraid. No one who told anybody about this. And he hired Bilam. Who said this? And he sent emissaries way up to where Bilam lives in Syria. Who knew about this? And then he didn't want to go, and he had wanted to go, and they didn't want to go, and finally he went, and he had this argument with Balak, and Balak took him to 3 different places to curse the Jewish people, and finally he sent them back home. He was disappointed. This is the only parish in the Torah where the Eden who were next to Balak, they had no clue what's going on. The whole parish is about something they never had a clue what's going on. The Torah, Moshe is writing this, that this king Balak was afraid and hired a Bilam, and the attempts to curse him, the Jewish people came out to 3 blessings. You didn't have no idea what's going on. The Torah tells you this. Who is this Balak? The parsha is called Balak. Balak happened to be the 40th parsha in the Torah. You know that Balak's name is mentioned 40 times in this Seder of Balak? You know, Balak and Bilam, if you put one on top of the other, Balak, Bilam, you know, you get, what do you get? Balak, Bilam, what's that, something here? Levav, Amalek, Balak, Beis, Lamed, on top, be like Balak and Bilam. On top, the first 2 letters is Beis, Lamed. The first letter below of Bilam, put them together, you get Levav, the heart, and the second letter, Balak, you have Kuf with Lamed Ayin Mem. That's Levav Amalek. Balak and Bilam both had the heart of Amalek to wipe out the Jewish people. Number 3, Balak is 132 in Gematria, and Bilam is 142. From here you learn that Bilam hated the Bnei Yisrael more than Balak. Like Haman, the vice president, hated the Jews more than Achashverosh. Because we know that from Megillah Esther. So Balak is 132 and Bilam is 142. Also, Balak's name is mentioned in the Seder 40 times, and Bilam is named 50 times. So that's 10 more. Isn't that interesting? Take a look now. We said in the last parasha, Og, no Rasha, by the way, is mentioned in the Torah unless he has some zechusim. If you're a stam, a plain evil person, but you have no zechusim at all, you're not mentioned in the Torah. Any one of these Rishoyim, Korach and Balak and Og and Bilam, is mentioned because there's some zechus in them. Hashem said, don't be afraid of Og, last week's parasha. But his brother Sichon, God never said don't be afraid of him, because he wasn't afraid of him. But what did Og have that Moshe should be afraid of him? Because he's 48 feet tall, and Og was 4 times the size of Goliath. Goliath, who David killed, was twice the height of a man. He was 12 feet because he was 3 amas. No, a human being is 3 amas. We're 6 feet, and there was 6 amas. That's 12 feet. And these giants were 4 times the size of Goliath, 48 feet, 24 amas, 48 feet. So that's not why Moshe was afraid of him, because his brother Sichon was also about that size. He wasn't afraid of Sichon. Didn't say in the Torah, don't be afraid of Sichon, but it says about Og, don't be afraid of him. What did Og have going for him? Well, Og had a big schus. That's why Moshe was afraid. He told Avraham Avinu that your nephew Lot has been captured and captive, so therefore he wanted Avraham to go and save his nephew Lot, who happened to be the mayor of Sodom, and that's the war of the 4 kings against the 5 kings. And Abraham went to save Lot, and through that, Abraham not being home, Og wanted to have relations with Sarah, who's the second most beautiful woman ever created, because Chava was the most beautiful, Sarah was one of the most beautiful, Esther was beautiful, even though Achashverosh took her. He thought she was 18 or 28, she was really, I think 80, and she looked like 25, 30, because Hashem can give people most of Chaim. So Og so he wanted to take Sarah. And of course he never touched Torah, but since he did a mitzvah, even though it was shlo l'shmo, he gets his cham. Here, this Balak builds 7 mizbeachs, 3 times, 21 mizbeachs, and brings 2 animals in every mizbeach, 42 animals. Because of that Jewish history, he has some zechus. Every Rasha mentioned in the Torah has some zechus. Og has the zechus because he informed Abraham to save his scoundrel nephew Lot, which he did. But he had to save Lot because from Lot comes Mashiach. Lot lived with his daughter. They had a child Moab. Rus came from Moab. Mashiach comes from David, Shlomo, Mashiach. So Lot has some chusim. Og has chusim, even though it wasn't the Shema. So you get rewarded, even though it's not the Shema. You get rewarded a little bit. Yeah, well, he's living about 900 years because Og was hanging onto the table in the Mabul time. And the Mabul was in 1656. And they came out of Mitzrayim in 2448. This is 40 years later. 2488. So 1600 to 24 is about 800 years. And when he was hanging on the table from the outside, he wasn't a baby, probably 100 to 200 years old. He was about 900 years old minimum. So how does the chus? He lived a long time. So Og has some zechusim. Balak has the chus because from him comes Rus 300 years later. Bilam has the chus because Bilam is Lavan. Because Bilam could be written without an ayin, beis, lamed, mem, and in Hebrew Aramaic you switch the mem for a nun, like Yomim, Yomin, Bilam, Lavan. He was the Gilgul of Lavan, 500 years before. And Lavan was the grandfather, like it or not, of the Jewish people. He was the Zaidi, the Saba of the 12 Schwab. He was the rotten Zaidi. Bilam is Lavan, who's the Zaidi of the Saba of the Jewish people. Midian is mentioned, which is today Saudi Arabia, below Jordan. That Moshe lived in Midian for many years. Canaan, the Canaanites are mentioned always because Abram lived there for 100 years, from 75 to 175. Ammon and Moab, they're always mentioned, the 2 borders next to the Jordan on the right side, because Moab produced Rus, the mother of Mashiach. And Ammon, his daughter, was one of the wives of Shlomo, the child of Ammon. So let's take a look at this Seder. Vayar Balak ben Sipor. Balak, the son of a bird. That's the father's name, Sipor. He looked over them like a bird looks over the Jewish people. He wanted to kill them. Number 2, he practiced occults and magic with birds. Everything the Jewish people did to the Amorites, that means Sichon, they just killed them. And that's on the right-hand side of the Yarden, the east bank. And Moab was trembling because of the people. By Yagar, they were trembling. Why? They didn't want to be strangers in their own country, because if the Jews took it away, they would be like Gerim in their own country. By Yagar, Ger. Ma'od, very much. Kirabhu, the Jews were very many, 4.5 million people. That's right, with the women and children and the one below 20s, and you measure the people above 60. And the Shevi Levi, which is not mentioned in the 600, not counted in the 600, 3,550, 22,000 Levi. And everyone had a wife or two or three, and a daughter, they're not counted. Everyone, some people were below 20, some people were above 60. So they had about 4.5 million people. Kiravu, this was a big nation, but Yaakov, Moab, Laban, and Yisrael, and Moab was disgusting, like a cuts, like a thorn sticking in your side. You know when you have a little splinter in your finger, your whole body hurts? That's what a cuts is, the thorn. They didn't enjoy life anymore because those Jews are taking over everything. But Yom Moab Midian, so the Moab said to the elders of Midian, which is today Saudi Arabia, because Yisro lived there, and Yisro became Moshe's father-in-law, and they said to the Midianites, listen, you're the savior of the Jewish people, lived in your country. Well, what's his nature? He says, well, he has a power in his mouth. The Jews have a power in tefillah. Now this community will lick up, as Kol Sibi was saying, all around us. They already licked it up. They got rid of Og up in the Golan, in the Bashan, and they got rid of him. He's a giant, and he lived 900 years. And his brother Sichon, who was lower next to Ammon, Jordan, they got rid of him. So we're nothing. We're small change. They're our eyes. These giants were our eyes, our protectors. They got rid of them. So we feel threatened. They're going to lick up his cold sweet like a shore, like a bull licks up as Yerikasora, the vegetables of the field. A boysai, bulls don't eat vegetables. Never. And vegetables don't grow in a field. Vegetables grow in a garden, What's going on over here? He says, like my father explained to the Sefer, Mayim Beis HaSheva, you ought to get it. When a cow or a bull or a sheep or a goat, whatever, pasture in the field, they eat up all the grass and all the seaweed, grass and what else it is, grains, until they get to the end. And if there's a garden there, they'll eat the vegetables, the carrots and the potatoes and tomatoes and the beans by accident. These people, these Jews, are going to wipe us away by accident. We're nothing. They just killed these two giants. We're nothing. We're small change. It's nothing. Kilachiyad. They'll eat us up like a cow will eat by accident a few vegetables. Bolak ben Tzibra Melcham over Ezim. Bolak, the king of Tzibra, was the king of Moab. At that time, they just installed him because Sichon Melech Hamori was the king of the Amorites. And when he got killed, and Bolak was his general. So when he got killed, Sichon, the Moabite said, "You want to be our king?" So they made him as a king. Bishlach Malachim, he sent agents. El Bilam, to Bilam, the prophet of the Goyim, Ben Ba'ar, the son of Ba'ar, Besora. He was a poser chalomos. All the kings and the wise men of the world sent him their problems, their letters. He should be explained dreams and things in life. Like today, you go to a Talmud Chochem at Tzaddik. You want to go on. You want to know what life means. They used to send him. He was poser chalomos. Some say Pesora means he had a table. Like a table, money changer, that you change money from big amounts to small. He also explained their problems in life. Or Pesora could mean, turn the word around, Paros, Euphrates River. He lived up there. Asher al-Hanor, which is near this big river, Euphrates, which starts in Syria and goes way down and divides Iraq and Iran. It's called the Euphrates. And the Har Eretz Bnei Amma, where he comes from. He comes from up there in Syria. And then he went down to Midian, and then he became a king of Moab. But the Krolo, to call him Lamar, he said, a nation, Yosef Mitzrayim, came out of Mitzrayim. They don't say that God took him out. He was an atheist, Balak. Bilam was 100% believer in God. He hated the Jews more than Balak, because we know, he told you, Bilam has a higher gematria, 142, than Balak, 132. And Balak's name is mentioned 40 times, and Bilam is 50 times. So, and we know that he was a bigger anti-Semite anyhow. So, he believed in God. He was a big anti-Semite. Aren't there millions of people today who are anti-Semites who believe in God? 100%. He believed in God 100%. Never told a lie in his life, Bilam. He was a lowlife, a pervert, but he never told a lie. But he believed in God, 100%. But Balak did not believe. He says the nation came out of Mitzrayim. When he repeats it to God, God comes to him. He says, "Where are you going?" Bilam says, "Yeah, a nation that was taken out of Mitzrayim." He believes in God. But Balak said, "No, they just came out of Mitzrayim." He didn't say it was miraculous. Yod saw went out of Mitzrayim. Hinei chisos einors, the covering the eye of the earth. Wherever you look, there they are. Eye also means those two eyes. The eyes of Ogun and the Sichon, they're our eyes. They protected us on the east bank. They're gone. They covered the eyes. I mean, they killed these two giants. Yosef Mamuli, he's living right next to me. These Jewish people right next to me. The word Mamuli doesn't have a vav. So the Baal Turim says, yeah, there's something missing with Mamuli. Very close. They see me, but I don't see them because the Anani HaKavod is carrying and covering them. They see me. They're very, very close. They see me, but I don't see them. That bothers me. And how could they see them? The Aaron died, and when Aaron died, the Anani HaKavod disappeared. And when Miriam died, the Be'er disappeared. The Schus of Moshe came back. Miriam died in the 10th day of the first month, Nisan, and he came back. And Aaron died Rosh Chodesh Ab 4 months later, and the clouds came back. 8 months after Ab, Moshe died, the last month, 8 and 4 to 12. And the Zion Ador. Then they didn't need these Mammon, Mayim, and the cloud because they're in Eretz Yisrael already. By the way, let me ask you a question. Last week, Sandra, there's a shira for the Be'er, the Mayim. Why is there no shira at all for Man that fell every day, just like the water they drank every day? And why is there no shira for the Anani HaKavod that protected them against the sun? Why is there a shira for 12 words? Shiras HaBe'er. There's 3 shiras in the Torah. Az Yoshim Moshe, Shiras Hayam, and Shiras HaBe'er. And at the end of the Torah, Shiras Shemayim Ba'aretz, the shira of heaven and earth. Hazinu Shemayim V'adabeir. So, very good. And there are 7 shiras in the rest of Tanakh. Altogether there's 10. The other 7 is Shiras Shirim, and Shiras Chano, and Shiras Yeshua made a shir, and actually there's 9. There's one more going to be when Mashiach comes. Total is 10 shiras, 3 in the Chumash. So why don't we have a shir for the month? That's also, you can't live without food. Can't live without a Anani HaKavod, you'll be burned to death. In the desert there's no trees. Because Mayim is Dome LeTorah. That's why it is a shir for the Mayim. Now if you're thinking people, you'll say, Rabbi, why isn't Torah compared to something much more important than Mayim? Air. I can live 6-7 days without water. 2 minutes without air, you got it. You're done. Why isn't Torah Kadom La'avir? You know why? In Avir and air, I can sit on the chair for 8 hours, not move. I'm not going to die. In water, if you don't move, you sink to the bottom. Torah is compared to water. If you don't progress, you go down to the bottom. A businessman does not want to make as much as last year. He wants to make more. No Talmud Chacham wants to stay and learn as much as you know last year. He wants to progress. Water is a medium that you can't just sit still. You're going to sink. Oh, I know. You're going to float on top when you do the backstroke and you do elementary. What do you call that? The back. The white rain will come under you, and then the sun will burn you. If you want to get somewhere in water, you want to swim. If you don't swim, you're going to sink. That's why Torah's Dome L'Mayim. You either progress or you die, or you sink. Air, I can sit here for hours, not move a bit. I'm not going to die. But water, if you don't go anywhere, you're going to sink to the bottom. Now we have a song for water only because of Dome L'Mayim. Tell me now, why is it that out of the 3 things, we make a yontif for one of them? Sukkot, Anani HaKavod. Why don't we make a yontif for the month and for the Mayim? Answer: you don't make a yontif when it came about by machlokas. They're always arguing about the month. 2 or 3 times, 2 times in the Torah, God had to give them slav and warn them and not to leave the month over, and some people left it over. There's machlokas about man always, and my worse, even till the 39th year, last week's parsha, they're arguing about the water. You don't make a yontif about machlokas, only about the Anani HaKavod. There, when the Anani HaKavod were taken away at the end. They didn't complain to Moshe and said, no, we're exposed now. They're all going to see us. They were afraid. They did tshuva. They didn't complain. Therefore, we make a yontiv about the Anani HaKoven, which is Sukkos, and because there's no machlokas involved. Let's learn one more pasuk. We have to end shorter today because we have to end shorter. They covering the earth. They're right next to me. Cursed for me as almost at this nation. They are too powerful, many for me. If you curse them, then maybe I can strike them and kill them. By God, I'll drive them out of the land. Balak told Bilam, I only want to drive them out of the land. I let them go someplace else. Bilam said later, when he repeats it to Hashem, drive them out of the earth, all off, get them, wipe them off the face of the earth. Balak didn't say that. Get them away from me, I'm happy, which means Bilam hated them more than Balak. Kiyodati is Asher Tvarim Mavar, whatever you bless is blessed. Asher Torah, you are, and everything you curse is cursed. Yehu Zikni Moab, Zikni Midyam. So the elders, ambassadors of Moab went with the Zikni Midyam, Ukasam Biyodam, and occults in their hand. They had the crystal balls and the occults and the whatever. They have skulls of human beings and staves and things that these magicians, that these occult leaders, these wizards need. Biyodam Bilam, then he came to Bilam. Maybe it took him a week to get there, or 2 weeks. They told him to report a Balak. Stay overnight here. And I'll tell you in the morning what's going to be. But Yud Kei speaks to me. They sat down, stayed there. Sorry, Moab and Bilam, the ambassadors of Moab with Bilam. What happened to Midian? They went home. They said, he's going to ask Yud Kei. You ever heard of a father who curses his own children? They understood already, nothing comes from it, they went away. Because remember, Moshe lived in Midian. They understand that the Jews have a power with them out, and God who took them out of Egypt and supplied it with Mayim and Mon and Anani and covered 40 years is not going to let anybody kill them. So they saw it was a worthless cause, they went home. The Yovel came out Bilam, and the Midas Hadin came to Bilam. The Yomi says, Mi Anoshim Elimah, who are these people with you? Which means Bilam thought, see, God doesn't know. So he's going to deceive God, but Hashem is only giving him a chance to gather his wits and debate with him. Who are these people? As if God doesn't know. And then he said, these people. And Bilam heard, these people. I should have told Balak the head said, higher rank people. Bilam said to Elikim, Balak ben Tzipor melech Moab shalach alayim. The king of Moab, send him to me, Balak. He says, he thinks I'm something. You may not think I'm anything, but he thinks I'm something. This nation that was taken out, not Yotzah, Ha-Yotzeh, that was taken out, means he believes in God. Ain't hard to cover that earth, the eye of the earth, wherever you see they're there, which means they also killed Og and Sichon. Now come please, Kavali, curse me, also them. Maybe I can fight them. He go Rashtiv and drive them out. Not of the earth, Bilam said. From the world. That's why he's a big so Yisrael and Balak. Don't go with them. So don't say Imohem. So Bilam heard Imohem, with them not. But figure shots, yes. That's what he heard. Lo swords, don't. I saw Bilam said, well, I'll curse them right here. He says, no, don't curse them even here. And he says, well, maybe I'll bless them. He says, no, I blessed them already. They're blessed, and you cannot at all change the status. Now, we have to cut this short today. We have to go somewhere very important. However, if you want to hear this year, go call up 690 shurim. Call Halosham, really 1,580. But 2 years ago, they started the count again. Every single day of the year for the last 3 years, there is a shir on Kol Halosham, 646-977-7900, and you'll hear today's shir, yesterday, the day before. You hit 21 to go back, 23 to go ahead. And that's it. Call the number, and have a good week.